What I'm interested in is the fact that anger is a feeling and that we all have it. So often people go on anger management programs, and I went on an anger management program for my own anger, and that's how I then went on to train myself and become a facilitator. I went thinking, I don't like anger, I never want to be angry again, but it's not like that. Human beings feel anger.
But some people deal with it better than others, and is
Absolutely.
that something we learn, or is that how we're born?
I don't know, but I do know that certainly we can learn to deal with our anger differently. So anger management is about, we're all humans, we all feel anger. When you come on anger management, you feel angry. When you leave the anger management course, you'll still feel angry. Although most people feel less angry when they've been on anger management, I felt much less angry. The issue is, how do you actually deal with that feeling of anger? And that's about the angry behaviour. And is the angry behaviour explosive, which is how we often think of anger, throwing phones. Yes, go on.
Now, we've got some nice calls lined up. If you want to jump in by anyway with advice or anything, please feel free to. Likewise, Sandra. Let's throw it open to you guys at home. Angry people. Amy.
We've got Harriet on line 1.
Morning, Harriet.
Morning, Matthew.
Hi there. Are you an angry lady?
A lot of the time, yes. This morning, no.
Good. Glad to hear it. Likewise. So what makes you angry?
Loads of things. My biggest thing at the moment is probably people that don't clear up after their dog.
Yeah, that makes me angry.
That winds me up because I have to walk through a park 3 times a day to take my children to school and back and school and back and school and back. And,
so when you say
3 times a week, I have to clear dog muck off my children's shoes.
But when you say makes you angry, how does that manifest itself?
I tend to scream at people in the park if I actually see them losing dog dirt. I'll be really wound up. I'll be, sort of mumbling under my breath, if you like, because I won't swear in front of my children, but I sound a bit like sort of that cartoon character, you know.
Yeah.
And I find that if I'm in the car, I can get really wound up by people. A lot of things, I do think, just in general, that we have too many constraints on us in life and too many deadlines, and you've got to be here and you've got to be there.
It's like Will said earlier. There's not as much. It feels like we don't have as much freedom anymore. Freedom to.
People sort of assume for me, because I'm at home with my children, that I have nothing to do all day. Now, I have to say, this is the first time I've seen your programme in about 3 months, because I don't even normally get a look in at the television. You're running around all day. Like I say, I go to and from school 3 times a day. It doesn't leave an awful lot of time to
Harriet, stay there. Florence,
you need to calm down. You sound like you're getting angry.
There's nothing more irritating than someone saying, calm down, dear.
I really find the notion of people being angry very, very alien.
But you're incredibly relaxed. I mean, I don't know you very well, but I've worked with you for a few weeks now, and you are Mr. Mellow.
And that's a good way to be. I think if you're that angry that you will abuse someone in the street for their dog fouling, if the consequence of that was them slapping you in the face, you'd soon calm down.
But I understand Harriet's anger about it, because it's so bloody thoughtless and selfish.
It's irritating, but why are you going to give yourself so much grief being angry about it?
Let's hand controls over to Florence here. What would you say to this lady?
I would say just what I said before about the fact that it's not about whether you should feel angry, it's about whether you do. So the caller, you do feel angry, and that is that. So the question then is, what do you do about it? Does it serve you to be angry? Well, it sounds as though actually it makes you unhappy, and certainly if you did get punched in the face, there'd be consequences you didn't like. So it could well be that working on your anger, going to an anger management course so that then you feel less angry.
Any handy tips? If we haven't got time or we haven't got the inclination to go to course, are there things we can do in our daily lives right now? You could give us suggestions to chill us out. Nice mellow music?
Absolutely. And at the same time, it is important to realise that this is a difficult issue. The anger management course that I'm involved in is 30 hours. And so there aren't quick fixes. But the obvious things are to back off. That you talked about hormones earlier in the programme. When we are angry, that is because our bodies have got different hormones coursing through us, and they affect the way we think. So we don't actually think straight and we don't think calmly, and therefore we behave out of character. So one thing to remember when you're angry is to think, I am now filled with hormones and I'm not thinking straight. So I need to back off, I need to calm down so that I can think about an appropriate reaction. Perhaps better to talk to the police in the area about...
There you go. All right, Harriet, that sounds like good advice. I do. I get out little cocktail sticks with post-it notes on them saying, "Not a good dog owner," and I put them in the poopies and then let my neighbours know. I have done that several times. It's not angry, and I think it makes a point that all the local neighbours go by, and I'm hoping that one day that they will confront the swine.
It's not angry, it's weird.
Harriet.
I would love to be walking around the park and seeing you bending down.
Putting my little cocktail sticks in. Harriet, thank you for the call. Let's have one more, Amy, a quick one, please.
We've got Jan from West Yorkshire online too.
Jan, good morning.
Morning, Matthew.
Morning. Are you an angry person?
No, I don't think I'm angry. Quite feisty at times.
OK, do you think we're born angry or made angry?
I think we're all born with temperament,
I think
but
so.
it's how that temperament's dealt with. And I think that's down to parenting. I think children have to be taught what is and isn't acceptable. You know, there's a saying, show me the child at 7 and I'll show you the man, because angry children grow into angry adults, don't they?
Yes. I mean, I totally... The temperament thing, I mean, my mum always said, you know, my sister and I are just very, very different temperaments. I'm sure all the parents today with 2 kids or more would have the same thing. But I don't know if... I don't know whether part of it's actually in your genes and can't be changed. Managed, I think maybe that's why it's called anger management rather than...
I do want to chip in here.
Go on, a quick one.
I want to chip in to say that when we say angry adults, angry children grow up into angry adults, I think that's making the same mistake about the fact that anger is just a feeling.
Yeah.
So to me, it's more about if a child is angry, how do you deal with that? And one way is, of course, to suggest it's not acceptable behaviour. And if you do that, then the child is going to bottle it. And maybe then they will do things like Sandra, eating, because that's acceptable. So actually, I think it's important to allow people to express their anger, but express it appropriately.
Right. Good advice. Good advice. I think it's fascinating. Jan, thank you for that call. Don't lose your rag, though, folks. I'm afraid we're going to have to leave that one there. Stephen can come around and mellow you all out. So easy going. Sandra, thank you very much for joining us as well. And likewise, Florence. Brilliant advice. Thank you.